With something open.
Oh, message? No.
You're not in so long.
No, I have my car back though, so that's good.
What's that?
So I've got 2:30.
It will start as soon as They get.
Gotcha. And it has to be posted on the location. We didn't post it. Running late, one call.
Wow. They can't, horizontal.
It's just.
The basement. What I walked away. I'm still. Do you want me to do?
Alrighty, good evening, everyone. We are now going to get started. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Alrighty, we will now begin our board meeting. If I can have everyone find some seats, we still have a couple available. Thank you so much, teachers. I love the teacher moves with the hands up. Always appreciate some backup. So tonight is a very special night, and I just want to thank you all for being here with us tonight. Before we get started, I am going to have to announce that we are modifying the agenda today. The closed session that we had prepared for tonight is going to be moved to a later date to be announced sometime soon. And so now with this, I now call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of Oak Grove School District on December 12th, 2024 at 6:09 p.m. May I have a motion and second to approve the revised agenda?
Motion to approve the revised agenda.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda has been approved as revised. All right, and so with that all, thank you so much. Welcome to the regular board meeting of December 12th, 2024. There are many opportunities for the public to address the board tonight, a public hearing, public comment, or during a specific agenda item. If you wish to speak to the board, please complete the request to speak card at the front and provide it to the recording secretary. And if you're joining the meeting on Zoom, please select the raise your hand feature in order to have your name called when the agenda item is reached. In-person speakers will be called to the podium first, followed by Zoom attendees. And when it is your turn to speak, you will have 3 minutes to speak. The Brown Act governs meetings of governmental bodies in California. Your comments to the board must be specific to the agenda item you are addressing. If there's no specific item, you're welcome to present comments during public comments. Please note that you are attending a public meeting of the Board of Trustees doing the public's business, and that this is not a public forum for public debate, nor can board members respond to any questions that may be posed. At this time, I will now pass the land acknowledgement to Member Pacheco. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Hernandez. So we acknowledge that the Oak Grove School District and our schools occupy the unceded territory of the Muwekma Ohlone Nation, the sovereign nation, original people of the skies, land, and waters where we work and learn. The Muwekma Ohlone people are the stewards of these land and of the teaching and learning that come from and respond to the needs of the land and people share it. May our daily lives and work, research, teaching, and community engagement support the evolving vision of Muwekma Ohlone for the community of these lands. Thank you.
All right. I will now pass on the coordinating or facilitating of the meeting to our president, Member Gonzalez.
Thank you so much. And so next we have the flag salute, Superintendent Chidas.
Please rise.
Okay, and Superintendent Chidas, will you please provide the superintendent's report?
Yes, thank you, Vice President Hernandez and President Gonzalez. This evening is it's a special evening. We're going to be recognizing our employees, and it's also special because we're going to be recognizing 3 of our board members who have served our district for the past, Jorge Pacheco, past 6 years, and Vice President Hernandez and President Gonzalez for the past 4 years. Many accomplishments, and we're going to be today acknowledging them with a resolution. We're going to be reading the resolution first here during our report, and then later on, it will be an action item. We'll vote on each resolution separately. Before we begin that, I just quickly want to give some updates. It was nice to visit Herman and Adventure during our executive team visit. It's always nice to be out at our school sites during our ET visits. And I tell people that that is something very unique that many districts do not do, to have your entire executive team go out to school sites, have some break bread and meet with the teachers before school starts, and then walk all the classrooms. You know, and that, we do that 18 times for every school site, right? 18 school sites, very unique that we have, and I really enjoy doing that and seeing the students and the staff. Yesterday, we had our coffee clutch meeting with our African-American parents. We're very well attended. We also had our district advisory committee meeting and home to school club before the Thanksgiving break. One thing that we're doing this year is really engaging our community intentionally by attending different events, such as the Coffee and Conversations with myself. The last one we had was at the Edenville Public Library. Our next Coffee and Conversation, we're going to change it up and do it in the evening. That way for parents that cannot make the morning, so we'll do an evening one now. I'm not sure if we'll have coffee in the evening, but we'll have water or something. But it's definitely something to get more input. Today, here in this room, we had our Student Advisory Council, and today our students engage in an activity around the LCAP. So we have 6 different rotations. What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? You know, what ideas do you have to make your school better? So our students from all 18 schools participated in that activity. Very engaging. And then also today, I was able to say hi to our district DEIB committee. As you know, this board here is the one that passed the resolution for our district Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee, as well as the Ethnic Studies Committee as well, and many more other resolutions that we will read about later. But I do want to thank Associate Superintendent Bowles for facilitating DEIB. It was nice to be there. I facilitated it for about 5 years, DEIB, so it's nice to be just an observer today. And I'm going to ask Associate Superintendent Bowles just a quick update on the progress of DEIB.
Yes, thank you so much, Superintendent Chida. So as you mentioned, we had our second DEIB meeting today. I see some members of the committee here in the room, so they had a quick turnaround, jumping in their cars and coming down. We're so glad they're able to join us for both meetings tonight. We had our first meeting in October, and one of the committee's objectives this year is to share with all OGSD employees the work and continued learning around equitable and inclusive district practices. And so to keep our employees informed, we're providing a summary after every single one of our DEIB meetings. Hopefully you caught that first summary in the last OGSD Insider. But the 4 opportunities, action opportunities and objectives for the year, for the committee this year, are to conduct empathy interviews to gather insights from underrepresented voices, both parents and staff, use asset-based language and communication. So we're going to be looking at communications that go out into the community and making sure that they are reflective of assets-based language, ensuring classified staff and all district employees stay informed and engaged in DEIB updates and training, thus the summaries that we're sending out after every meeting this year. And then utilizing different ways to explore equity audits to identify areas for improvement. So we had our second meeting today, and between the first and second meeting, all of the members committed to conducting 1 empathy interview. And what an empathy interview means is just looking at how we can get qualitative data or lived experience data from folks, not just numbers, not just data sheets and data bars, but just spending some time one-on-one to sit and listen. And so today we met to just go over the results of what we learned and trying to see where there are some opportunities, also some highlights in the work through the district. And the large part of the meeting today was the team just sharing what they learned from listening to members throughout the community. So we had 30 people today. And so we had about 30 folks who were able to talk to between the first meeting and the second meeting. So we're still in the analysis stage of what we learned from those empathy interviews, and we're excited to conduct some action projects based on some of the themes and patterns.
Thank you, Associate Superintendent Bowles, for that update. Definitely, and thank you to all the teachers, the staff, employees, also parents. I noticed there was parents there as well today. So thank you for that update. Now, before we go into the Communication Vision Awards, I do want to take some time here to recognize our board and recognize them It says here retiring board member, but I know that you still be very involved. And you know, you're always part of our community. You're also parents here of students. And also for Jorge will be at the county level now as well, serving, still representing Oak Grove, but now at a bigger scale at the county. I'm going to read the resolution for our board president, Beja Gonzalez. This is resolution number 1489. 12-24, and it says, whereas Beja Gonzalez has ably served the Oak Grove School District student, staff, and community since her election in 2020, whereas Beja Gonzalez has been an exemplary member of the Board of Trustees for 4 years, supporting district vision, mission, and modeling our core values, and whereas Beja Gonzalez has served as a caring and dedicated board member, committed to each student achieving their potential, and as a tireless advocate for equity for all students, supported establishing a diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging DEIB committee and ethnic studies adoption committee in the district, and the passage of a resolution denouncing racism, supporting equity, and Black Lives Matter, the passage of a resolution denouncing hate crimes against the Latino community, the passage of a resolution supporting the rights, freedom, and equality of those who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, LGBTQ+, the passage of a resolution recognizing the month of May as a National Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and the passage of resolution in support of safe and healthy infrastructure to support learning and teaching, and supporting the citizens for better education towards a successful passage of Measure P. And whereas Beja Gonzalez has provided outstanding leadership and governance in the Oak Grove School District throughout her tenure, and whereas Beja Gonzalez effectively fulfilled her duties as a trustee through handling the difficult but necessary decisions facing the board, such as the sale of minor and glider properties to ensure fiscal solvency and with the best interests of the students and the district in the forefront. And while Beja Gonzalez served the board while supporting science, technology, engineering, and math STEM programs, implementation of Sobrato Early Academic Learning, SEAL, and numerous awards such as the Golden Bell Award, Glenn Hoffman Exemplary Program Award, Two-Way Bilingual Immersion, TUBI Program, development of the district's Local Control Accountability Plan, LCAP, and promoting technology innovations, distance learning. And whereas Beja Gonzalez has been a true team member of the Board of Trustees, serving with support of her colleagues, the superintendent and administration, all district employees, students, parents, and committee. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees does hereby commend Beja Gonzalez for her commitment, service, and dedication to the Oak Grove School District, and congratulates her for her outstanding leadership and care for the employees and the children of the district, and expresses heartfelt gratitude for her tireless devotion to the students, staff, and parents of our community, and extends best wishes for continued health, happiness, and prosperity to Beja Gonzalez in all her future endeavors. Passed and adopted by the Board of Trustees of Oak Grove School District of Santa Clara County in the state of California on the 12th day of December, 2024. And we will be voting on this later on. So I'm not going to say that the vote has passed yet, but we'll do that later. And now I would like to congratulate you. Thank you, Beja. We're going to take one. Yeah, and we'll be doing pictures with all three, all of us when we're done. Would you like to say a few words?
So very few words. I just want to extend my utmost gratitude and love to this district. You know, I think back and I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, I served 4 years and it sounds like I did a lot, but truly it wasn't enough for everything that the district has done for me. I've been a part of this district the majority of my life, right? First as a child, attending schools like Ledesma, and Taylor, Burnell, and Herman, and now as a parent of the district. You know, I'm lucky enough to have two beautiful little girls in this district. They love this district. This district is their home, just like it was mine. This district has employed my father for over 20 years. I have such heavy roots here. And so I'm not going anywhere, right? I'll continue to be a part of this district. I look forward to helping in other capacities. And I just want to say thank you so much to the teachers that have given their time and dedication to these students. You know, and if you know, ever wonder if the job is worth it, if what you're doing makes a difference, absolutely. I can say as a grown woman with a career and a happy, healthy family that you all have made a huge impact in my life. And so I look forward to seeing how I can continue to make an impact here in the district in other ways. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Now, I'm gonna delegate here, so we have different voices. I'm gonna ask Associate Superintendent Evans to acknowledge Vice President Hernandez with the resolution.
Gladly, it'll be an honor. All right. Whereas Carla Hernandez has ably served the Oak Grove School District students, staff, and community since her election in 2020. Whereas Carla Hernandez has been an exemplary member of the Board of Trustees for 4 years, supporting the district's vision, mission, and modeling our core values. And whereas Carla Hernandez has served as a caring and dedicated board member committed to each student achieving their potential, and as a tireless advocate for equity for all students, supporting establishing a diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging DEIB committee and ethnic studies adoption committee in the district, and the passage of a resolution denouncing racism, supporting equity and Black Lives Matter, the passage of a resolution denouncing hate crimes against the Latino community, the passage of a resolution supporting the rights, freedoms, and equality for those who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, LGBTQ+, the passage of a resolution recognizing the month of May as National Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and the passage of a resolution in support of safe and healthy infrastructure to support student learning and teaching, and supporting the Citizens for Better Education towards the successful passage of Measure P. And whereas Carla Hernandez has provided outstanding leadership and governance in the Oak Grove School District throughout her tenure, and whereas Carla Hernandez effectively fulfilled her duties as a trustee through handling the difficult but necessary decisions facing the board, such as the sale of minor and glider properties to ensure fiscal solvency and with the best interests of the students and the district in the forefront. And whereas Carla Hernandez served on the board while supporting science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM programs, implementation of Sobrato Early Academic Language, SEAL programs, and numerous awards such as the Golden Bell and Glenn W. Hoffman Exemplary Program Award, two-way bilingual immersion, TWEBE program, development of the district's local control accountability plan, and promoting technology innovations, distance learning. And whereas Carla Hernandez has been a true team member of the Board of Trustees, serving with support for her colleagues, the superintendent and administration, all district employees, students, parents, and the community, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees does hereby commend Carla Hernandez for her commitment, service, and dedication to the Oak Grove School District, and congratulates her on her outstanding leadership and care for the employees and children of the district, and expresses heartfelt gratitude for her tireless devotion to the students, staff, and parents of our community, and extends best wishes for her continued health, happiness, and prosperity to Carla Hernandez in all her future endeavors. Congratulations.
Vice President Hernandez, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you so much, Associate Superintendent Evans, for your words and for sharing the resolution. So I will keep this brief, as I know tonight is really still about all the collective work that we have left to do. And we still have so much to do. These 4 years have gone by so fast, and there's still so much work to do. But I mean, just hearing it back again, I'm just so grateful for all the collective work that we were able to accomplish. I want to first just thank all those who voted me into this elected position. I'm forever grateful to all of you who believed in my personal values, the mission, and believed in the vision that we share for our beautiful districts. I know some of you might have been a part of that as well and live in our beautiful Oak Grove School District. I also want to thank my campaign team that was composed of my younger sister, who was my treasurer, my friend and campaign manager, Geeta Ram, and then my treasurer, Donna Shin. May my dear friend Donna rest in peace, and may I always carry her in all I do. She was the first paraeducator that I worked with in this work about 11 years ago. So overall, I just want to share my gratitude to each of you in Oak Grove School District, the resolutions that we worked on together, the tenacity that you each showed over these 4 incredible and very challenging years. Can't believe COVID feels like 20 years ago at the same time. And the dialogue that we shared, you each played a role in assisting me in staying grounded, and being the thoughtful board member as I always tried to be. I'm so proud of you all. I'm appreciative of your work. I want to thank the bargaining units, the executive team, all for your collective work, for the emails, for the dialogue again, just allowing us to understand what it's like to work in Oak Grove School District and advocate on behalf of all of you and for our students. Again, just thank you so much, and thank you for sharing tonight with me.
Congratulations, Vice President Hernandez. Now I'm gonna ask Associate Superintendent Bowles if she can please read Member Pacheco's resolution.
It is my honor and pleasure. Resolution number 1491-12/24. Whereas Jorge Pacheco Jr. has ably served the Oak Grove School District students, staff, and community since his election in 2018. Whereas Jorge Pacheco Jr. has been an exemplary member of the Board of Trustees for 6 years, supporting the district's vision, mission, and modeling our core values. And whereas Jorge Pacheco Jr. has served as a caring and dedicated board member, committed to each student achieving their potential, and as a tireless advocate for equity for all students, supported establishing a diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging committee, and ethnic studies adoption committee in the district, and the passage of a resolution denouncing racism, supporting equity, and Black Lives Matter. The passage of a resolution denouncing hate crimes against the Latino community, and passage a resolution supporting the rights, freedoms, and equality of those who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer. The passage of a resolution recognizing the month of May as National Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and the passing of a resolution in support of safe and healthy infrastructure to support learning and teaching, and supporting the Citizens for Better Education towards a successful passage of Measure P. And whereas Jorge Pacheco Jr. has provided outstanding leadership and governance in the Oak Grove School District throughout his tenure, and whereas Jorge Pacheco Jr. effectively fulfilled his duties as a trustee through handling the difficult but necessary decisions facing the board, such as the sale of minor and glider properties to ensure fiscal solvency and with the best interests of the students and the district in the forefront. And whereas Jorge Pacheco Jr. served on the board while supporting science, technology, engineering, and math programs, implementation of Sobrato Early Academic Learning, and numerous awards such as the Golden Bell and Glenn W. Hoffman Exemplary Program Award, two-way bilingual immersion program, development of the district's local control accountability plan, and promoting technology innovations, distance learning. And whereas Jorge Pacheco Jr. has been a true team member of the Board of Trustees, serving with support for his colleagues, the superintendent and administration, all district employees, students, parents, and the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees does hereby commend Jorge Pacheco Jr. for his commitment, service, and dedication to the Oak Grove School District, and congratulates him on his outstanding leadership and care for the employees and children of the district, and expresses heartfelt gratitude for his tireless devotion to the students, staff, and parents of our community, and extends best wishes for continued health, happiness, and prosperity to Jorge Pacheco Jr. and all of his endeavors. Kamsahamnida.
I told myself I wasn't gonna get emotional, but uh, I was literally born in the Oak Grove School District, Kaiser on Cottle. Like, that's where I was born. My mother's right over there, older sister right here too. So I've only ever known Oak Grove School District. And, you know, when I won my election 6 years ago, I think the best first word to have said to everyone was like, surprise, because nobody expected me to win. And I didn't frankly know if I was going to win either. But these last 6 years have been just probably the most impactful thing I've ever done with my life, in the same level as being a teacher for our community too. So I just want to say thank you to all of the people who helped me serve you in this seat for the last 6 years, and that will help me continue serving you now in the Santa Clara County Board of Education. I am not a quitter. I'm really not. I was actually like starting to write my letter of resignation for this board just now, and every letter that I type is painful, because I've never actually written a letter of resignation for anything. So it's not goodbye, because I hate saying goodbye. I'm always the type to just sneak out the back door and not say anything, but I will be continuing to serve all of you, the teachers, the students, and this incredible board and leaders who have frankly become my family over these last few years. So just, we're really blessed to be in such a unique, special school district that everyone knows of. And it's because of the work that not just everyone at this table has done, with all of you. So with that, thank you to my family, thank you to the voters, thank you to the incredible teachers that have supported me since day one. When I told them I'm going to be your strongest advocate at this table and make sure that you guys, you know, feel supported, and to my colleagues who made this one of the best experiences ever. As anyone knows, it's really hard to find a functional school board, but we have one. And so with that, I also wish the next incoming school board the best. And I'll be here, and I'll still be here to support and help in any way I can. And as for everyone to know, I'm still your trustee. Reach out anytime, now, whenever you need the services of the county. So with that, thank you.
Congratulations, Member Pacheco, and definitely look forward to continue to work with you at the county level. What we're going to do now is so I'm just going to explain a little bit what we're going to do, because we're going to take a group picture with your resolutions, and then we're going to stay there because I'm going to have Associate Superintendent Bowles read the Communication Vision Awards winners. And so we'll stay up there just to shake their hands as they come up and take pictures. So let's come on down, take a group picture.
That's right before the awards too.
2-minute
recess.
Then recess right now.
After our picture.
We'll do a recess after the Vision Awards. Yeah, so we'll do Vision Awards and then we'll take a recess after that. Okay? All right, thank you.
All right, so thank you so much. We're so excited to then transition to continued celebration with our Communications Vision Awards. The recipients were selected based on the following criteria. Demonstrates effective interpersonal skills by consistently and actively helping to promote effective group interaction and opinions in ways that are sensitive to the feelings or knowledge base of others. Uses effective techniques to clearly communicate a positive district image to the community in a highly creative and insightful manner, and consistently and effectively disseminates written information in a positive manner that is timely, clear, and concise. So first from Baldwin Elementary School, speech and language pathologist Lori Coy. Also from Baldwin, Resource Specialist Program Teacher Ashley Mowry. From Burnell Intermediate School, Romina Karam, librarian. From Christopher Elementary School, or Christopher School, noon duty and reading support, Katie Moore. Also from Christopher School, instructional assistant, Selena Sicker-Bryant. From Davis Intermediate School, president of the Home and School Club, Lindsay Lewis. And also from Davis Intermediate School, assistant principal secretary, Taylor McElving. From Del Roble Elementary, resource specialist program teacher, Nayeli Villalbazo. From Edenville Elementary School, kindergarten two-way bilingual immersion teacher, Saida Eladio Silva. From Educational Services District Nurse, Karen Daughters. From Frost Elementary School, second grade teacher, Aaron Thompson. From Hayes Elementary School, school secretary, Carla Dickerson. Also from Hay School, and I see that this individual is joining us online, so maybe give an extra loud shout out so she can hear us. From Hayes Elementary School, President of the Home and School Club, Reason Rojas. From Herman Intermediate School and the Adventure Program, School Counselor Nereda Camacho. Also from Herman Intermediate and the Adventure Program, Science STEAM Teacher Maria Garcia Cerrato. From Human Resources District Office Receptionist Rita Cartagena. From Ledesma Elementary, fourth grade teacher Kelly Johnson. From Sakamoto Elementary School, health clerk Renee Glick. From STEAM at Stipe Elementary, English language teacher partner Kenzie Major. I'm sure it'll be the first of many award pictures for that cutie. All right, and lastly, from Taylor Elementary School, President of the Parent Teacher Association, Chrissy Terwilliger. All right, can we get everybody who's received an award to come on up for a group picture? Everyone who's here, who received a Communication Vision Award, come on up for one big group picture. You're pulling it off. You're good. All right, one last big round of applause for our Vision Award winners this evening.
We're gonna take a 5 minute recess, 5 minute recess.
Kids. But she's always like, she always mentions you. Huh? Oh. I'm grabbing a pen.
Okay, everyone, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you so much. I will now open the public hearing on initial bargaining proposal from Oak Grove School District to the Oak Grove Educators Association. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this item? Seeing none in person, is there any in line? None online? Okay. Seeing no other comments, I will now close the public hearing. And I will now open the public hearing on initial bargaining proposal from the Oak Grove Educators Association to Oak Grove School District. And first up, we have Bob Prola.
Good evening, Board. Superintendent Chávez. This message is primarily for you, Mr. Chávez. We're about to start bargaining in January. As you know, we live in one of the most expensive areas in the country. Something's got to be done about salaries. Oak Grove has a problem. We cannot attract and retain educators in this school district, especially in the area of special education. So what are we going to do about that in this contract? And that's one of the things Oak Grove Educators Association is going to attempt to address, and I'm hoping that you meet us there. Also, as you know, Oak Grove educators just took a huge hit out of our monthly paychecks, or are going to take a huge hit out of our monthly paychecks in January for health benefits. It's going to cost us hundreds of dollars. And while I am appreciative that you met us part way with an MOU to help mitigate that, at the end of the day, it's not good enough. And we now need to get to the point where we drastically rethink benefits so that every single year that Kaiser raises their rates, Oak Grove teachers aren't taking a hit out of our paychecks. It is hard enough to make rent and mortgages in this area. And when you end up paying it all out of your paychecks, you didn't even get a raise the last year. So that's the second thing to think about. Attracting and retaining quality educators includes both salary and benefits. The third thing is, in the area of special education, you have probably over 18 contractors by now. That is a ridiculous amount. And that is directly the result of the fact that you cannot attract and you definitely can't retain special educators. We're losing them right and left due to all kinds of problems, but also due to the fact that other districts are paying more. So what are we going to do about that? Oak Grove Educators Association is going to come to the table with proposals changing the amount of contractors that you're allowed to have. And the answer or the amount should be actually zero. But at this point, we need to work something out in that respect. So how are you going to meet us part way? Finally, we're going to also attempt to address the area of safety. Too many teachers, primarily in special education, but also in general education, are not safe enough in our classrooms. If teachers are getting hurt, if students are getting hurt, that's an unacceptable situation, and education doesn't happen when that is the case. So what are we going to do about it? That'll be very low cost items. I understand there's a huge cost associated with everything else, but safety should be lower cost and it should be a higher priority. So those are the things we're going to expect you to work with us on in this upcoming contract negotiations. Thank you.
Next, we have Avenir Guevara.
Good evening, board, and especially OGA teachers, well, I'm gonna keep my remarks brief. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Avenir Guevara, proud Burnell teacher, but also bargaining team member. And you'll hear our concerns, and I just want you to know that I'm not here just to represent myself. I'm not just here to be part of the bargaining, as part of the bargaining team member, but I'm here for all the teachers at the district. But secondly, and I think more importantly, I'm also a parent here at Oak Grove. Both my daughters went through here since kindergarten. Once already in high school, once like a 7th grade at Burnout where I teach. And I just want, ultimately, this is the ultimate goal. I want my kids, our kids, actually, I want our kids to have the same chance, the same environment, the same opportunities as the kids in the next district. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want our kids to have that same experience, the same opportunities, the same well-respected and paid teachers like in Evergreen or even like in Eastside Union School District. We just want the same thing. We want, I mean, ultimately be better, but at least equal or the same as these other schools in these other districts. But lastly, I just want to say I am excited for and ready for the work ahead. And I talked with Amy, and I'm sure, you know, I've had a lot of great experiences here at Oak Grove. I'm sure we'll continue that. And I just also want to take this opportunity because I'm an ethnic studies teacher. And I thank you all for bringing ethnic studies to our district. Actually, it was like a dream of mine to be an ethnic studies teacher. And you guys kind of gave me that opportunity to do that at Burnell. But again, I'm here for all of us. I'm here for the teachers. And ultimately, hopefully, by June, everything will wrap up and it'll be good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Luis Velasquez.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. Good evening, executive team. I support OGA's bargaining team because we live in one of the most expensive areas in the country, and competitive salaries and benefits are needed. There are teachers who are ready to move to other districts because they're being offered more salaries and better benefits. Oak Grove School District offers some of the lowest salaries in the county, and we must remain competitive to attract and retain quality teachers. We need to attract and retain quality staff because Oak Grove is having trouble hiring enough special educators. Too many jobs are contracted out because OGSD can't retain staff. The cost of living is out of control, and we need a fair contract. Our healthcare has increased approximately 40% over the last 2 years, and these increases are not sustainable. My students deserve an educator who is happy to work in OGSD with a fair contract. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Mary Costos.
Hi, I'm a parent, a special educator, and a community member. And I just wanted to stand up here today in support of the OGA bargaining team because we need a fair contract. We are one of the lowest paid salaries in the county, and it was not like that when I came here 11 years ago. We need an increase in wages and a fair benefits package. But really what's passionate for me is we need updates in our special education language. Our class sizes are way too big. Our classrooms are not safe. We have way too many contracted employees that have no loyalty to the district. And the district really needs to work on recruiting and retaining qualified special educators. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Ms. Kay.
Thank you for the opportunity. I speak as my own wording, but I am behalf of a larger community that I respect and adore. I feel a lot of times like I'm on a lonely island doing this job, and that's why I appreciate Ms. Hernandez and all that she's done as a special education teacher, because this job is very lonely and she's been able to maximize what she does in our field. I wanted to say that I'm working in a non-Title I school, and my understanding is that as a non-Title I school, we have no Tier 2 interventions, whereas some Title I schools do have opportunities with Tier 2 interventions. That's my understanding. That's why I speak on my own behalf, not for everyone. This is my understanding. If you appreciate Ms. Coy as I do, she's a wonderful person, but she also has a problem with the MOU. And I'm going to tell you this. My understanding of the MOU for speech therapists was that it's 60 students maximum. It says, to my understanding, 60 students on average. I think that's unacceptable. I need maybe 60 minutes to have a nap or something, but 60 students on a caseload is unacceptable. If you really appreciate this woman and the people who do that job and you want to retain them, look at that language. That's not right. I didn't write it. I don't blame anyone in this room, but it's not correct and we have the chance to fix it. I wanted to say that I would like to have more than one release day a year that Ms. Park had to fight for. I think if I'm handling legal documents, I should have more than one day a year to fix my stuff and to get on topic and get on timeline. If you want effective things for my job, you need to give me the time to do them because I shouldn't have to take them home. I shouldn't have to give up time with my family to do it. I know there's an expectation, but people are asking more of my time than the job time. I like to mention, as much as other people have, that an increase in the stipend wouldn't hurt. It is very expensive. I know I support 2 siblings with special needs. My paycheck is important, just like yours is. I also wanted to say, I think in the past couple years, I have benefited from free mental health services in this district. And I think there's a lot of people here and they're saying, oh, well, there's Care Solace, there's through the union. I need definitive information because my mental health is compromised by this job. I love this job. I've done it for 14 years. This is my 4th district. If I really didn't love this job, I would have left it and worked at Macy's. Like, so I'm saying I have a complicated job and I have valuable children I work with, but it's a complicated job and I need more mental health support than what I'm getting right now. This is the first time I had to pay for it and I'm paying a lot, but I also appreciate that in the past it has been offered for free. I believe it was Jimmy Johnson or one of the organizations. I'm not quite sure because I'm not that person, but I want to encourage you to please, both parties, bring it to the table again. It's necessary for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Lisa Amador.
I am the Vanna for her. Okay. Hi, I'm Lisa Amador. I'm the autistic teacher at Davis. I wasn't going to talk about injuries or workers being hit, but this is it's not pink eye, it's from being hit, but okay. I'm actually here to talk about time. I'm almost at retirement, so the next bargaining contract isn't necessarily going to affect me, but it's going to affect the special ed staff that follows me. And I would really love for our district to be able to retain staff once they're hired. So what's one way you can retain special ed staff? Give them time to do all their paperwork. We have a lot of paperwork. This is just my prepping. This is IEP paperwork that I have to do. And then this is my classwork. So I can't even do paperwork because I have a service 101 before school. And then I have IEPs after school, stuff after school. So I take a lot of work home, but it's not going to affect me. Like I said, the contract, it's going to affect new special ed staff if you do get to actually hire some. So if you want to have special ed staff and retain them, please give them time so they don't have to do paperwork before school. Please give them time during their contracted work hours so they don't have to do paperwork after their contracted work hours. Please give them time so they don't have to do paperwork on the weekends. Please give them more time to get all their stuff done so they don't have to do it on vacation. I have a new student, so I didn't do as much extra work that I usually do after my work hours this week because I was exhausted, the kids. Okay. But this is just some of the work extra work time I did just for this week. So like I said, this isn't going to affect me because I'm going to be retiring in the near future, but it is going to affect the other special ed staff. And I'd really like this district to be able to retain whatever special ed staff they can get, whether it's an OT, SLP, APE teacher, special ed teacher, RSP, or like me, an autism teacher. So there I go. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Brenna Jewel.
Hello, I'm Brenna Jewel. I'm a teacher at Oak Ridge, community member at Sakamoto, future parent at Sakamoto, and also OGA's organizing chair. And I just want to kind of reiterate what everyone's saying, that we look forward to a positive negotiation season because our students deserve teachers and staff who feel like we are valued in Oak Grove with a fair contract for the area we live and work in. I'm proud of all the OGA members who showed up tonight to show support for our bargaining team. And we stand in unity with our team at the bargaining table in January and beyond. And I also wanted to say thank you to board members Pacheco, Hernandez, and Gonzalez for everything you've done for Oak Grove over these last several years. We appreciate your support as OGA and just as, you know, teachers and members. And we know how much you love Oak Grove, and we have really appreciated everything that you've done for us, especially during the challenging years during COVID and everything. But I just want to say thank you. And yeah, we look forward to a great negotiation season, and we're all here to show that we support our bargaining team at the table. It's not just them, it's all of us too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any online comments at this time? Okay. So being that that is the last comment, I will now close this public hearing. And that brings us to item number 5, public comment. This is an opportunity for individuals to address the board on any school-related issue, which is not part of this evening's agenda. Are there any individuals who wish to speak to the board at this time? We have Jorge Prado.
Hello. After them is going to be tough. Anyway, let not one ignorant of geometry enter. That was written at the door of Plato's Academy. This means that geometry, as all other mathematical science, is not an end in itself, but is a prerequisite meant to test and develop the abstraction in the mind of the student. Thus, the student's ability to go beyond the level of sensible experience that keep us within the visible realm. You know the pronunciation better than me. The material world, all the way to pure intelligible or capacity of being understood or comprehend. This is because in the CAS report presented to this board in the patient rate by rest of math, slide 21st, October 17, the Latinos math progress, 21, 22, 22 points. 22, 23, 23 points. 23, 24, 23 points. And we have the books in Spanish. And the families are not getting the books in Spanish. And we have students that don't know the language yet. And they do a great effort over there, because I'm with them. They allowed me to be in their classes to try to support the kids and teach them a little bit how we do math, sometimes in their own language, but they're not getting the support. And is the philosophy of the district, every student should have the opportunity to receive a quality education regardless of his, her social, cultural, or economical background. Then all the new students that speak Spanish and still don't master the English language should get the math Spanish textbook if the district really wants to fulfill that philosophy, because we are behind. And the only way to support us is helping us when we don't speak the language, when they are trying to support them with a machine to make them understand math, which is abstraction. Please, I urge someone to give those books to the recently comers that have not mastered yet this language. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there any public comment online? Okay, seeing none, that brings us to bargaining unit comment. Do we have any reports from bargaining unit representatives at this time?
All right, I don't really have any updates tonight, but to Board Member Pacheco, Vice President Hernandez, and President Gonzalez, on behalf of CSEA and myself, I just want to thank you for your service to the community, to the students, and to Oak Grove School District. Thank you for volunteering and using your stepping up to do the job. Anybody that steps up should be appreciated for their service. But on top of stepping up to perform the service, you all left a positive impact in your time here, and it's greatly appreciated. You guys all served during COVID. I think you both were kind of new during COVID. And Jorge, you've been, well, Member Pacheco, you've been on the board since I've been president. So I've been with you the whole time. So I appreciate your service and for what you guys have done for everybody here. And I wish you the best in all your future endeavors. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm only going to speak on a few items because I know the night is long. Okay. So a few updates. Number one, there is a second bargaining survey going on. This is the second post we take from the membership. We want to make sure that the articles and the demands are going to be high priority, medium priority, or low priority. So that's going on right now. We're actually giving a pizza lunch to the site that gets the most completion of surveys. And I just want to share that we just came from a tailgate activity. That was actually a good turnout. I'm very proud of our OGA members. It was cold out there, it was sprinkling, but definitely this is something we'll continue doing. And yes, we're going to give them pizza. So pizza here, pizza there, pizza everywhere. All right, number two. Right now, modernization is a big issue. Teachers are anxious. Teachers are insecure about what's going on, what's going to happen. Am I going to get the right furniture? Middle schools are going to get the right furniture for their science classrooms, for their math classrooms. So it's very important to continue the communication, getting input from teachers and sharing the information, the expectations. Do they need to take their valuables home? What if it's a big valuable that I have? Can I take it home? I don't have storage at home. What do I do? So the anxiety is to the roof right now. So we appreciate the transparency and the communication with the teachers. Thank you. OGA wants to thank HR for providing registrations for teachers who went to the New Educator Conference. Teachers came back very happy. They learned a great deal. They want to go again. So thank you very much. Community schools update. We had 2 meetings. So meeting number 1, the Christopher teachers, about 10 veteran teachers invited me to speak with them. And they were overwhelmed. They had modernization this coming summer, but they're also, we're told that they were having community schools. We had a long conversation about what community schools really means, but right now they're just not there for community schools, right? They are overwhelmed. They have too much on their plate. So we are not pursuing community schools with Christopher. However, at Edenvale, we had a meeting. Thank you, Janae, for your support. I know this is hard work right now because we are in the process of writing a grant. And this just puts a lot of work on Laura, on us, in the community, trying to get teachers, getting buy-in. So thank you for your support. and last, from OGEA, we want to say thank you to Member Pacheco, Member Hernandez, Member Gonzalez. You leave a great legacy. You're going to be missed. It's a bummer that we only get to work for 5-6 months together. So just want to thank you for all your hard work and all your commitment and for always putting students in the center. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to President Beja Gonzalez. I had an amazing first year. I learned a great deal helping you with the campaigning, canvassing, getting to talk to the community, and walking. These are the shoes I bought with a $100 gift card that I won, walking 148 doors on that day. That was amazing. I just learned so much from this campaign season. Thank you. You'll be missed.
Okay, thank you so much. If that wraps up bargaining unit, that brings us to item 6, consent agenda. Superintendent Chavez, will you please present the consent agenda?
Thank you, President Gonzalez. I would recommend that the Board of Trustees approve the consent agenda as presented.
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the consent agenda as submitted.
I second. Is there any public comment or online comment? Okay, seeing none in person, any board discussion? Okay, we have a roll call vote.
Member Yu. Aye. Member Pacheco.
Aye.
Vice President Hernandez.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. And that brings us to our action items. First up, our action item 7.1, resolution 1489 -12/24, recognition of retiring board member Beige Gonzalez.
Thank you, President Gonzalez. Earlier, we had during the superintendent's report, we read the resolutions. At this time, it is an action item, and it is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 1489-12-24, recognizing retiring board member Beja Gonzalez as presented.
I move that the Oak Grove School Board of Trustees adopt resolution 1489-1224, recognition of retiring board member, our President Beja Gonzalez.
Second.
Okay, is there any public comment at this time?
Wait, I think, hold on.
Oh, 7.3.
Is there any board discussion?
Yeah, just, you're an amazing person to have worked with. And, if I had an hour to talk about all the things that I learned from working with you and just seeing your passion as a parent and as an effective board member and, just as someone who really cares, you should feel very honored, for the service you gave to our district and for the service, and our district is very lucky for the service you'll continue to give as a parent and as an active member of our community. And so just know that I'm really honored to have worked with you. Thank you for your service.
And if there's no other board discussion, can I have a roll call vote?
Member Yu. Aye. Member Pacheco.
Aye.
Vice President Hernandez.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye. Oh, I abstain.
Abstain. Motion carries.
Okay, awesome. And that brings us to action item 7.2, resolution 1490/12/24, recognition of retiring board member Carla Hernandez.
Thank you, President Gonzalez. This is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt resolution 1490-12-24, recognizing retiring board member Carla Hernandez as presented.
I move that the board approve resolution 1490-12/4 as presented.
Second.
Is there any public comment at this time? Okay, any board discussion?
Yeah, just Carla, you're amazing too. My gosh. Like, to have someone with your special education background and plus just seeing you bring that administrative experience, your joy, and like literally everything you say, I learn like as if I were back in like grad school. So I can't wait until you go get your doctorate because you're going to be teaching them, not the other way around. So just know that you really should feel super proud too for the awesome service you give to our district. And, you know, don't forget about us.
I'd also like to say, Carla, I appreciate Member Hernandez. I appreciate everything that you've done on this board, everything that you've done for me as a board member and also as a friend. I think we truly created a sisterhood here on this board, and you don't see that often in the line of work, and especially here on boards of education. So I just want to thank you so much for your vast knowledge, your love, and your care these past 4 years. And obviously, we're not going anywhere in each other's lives, but I would just like to take this time to honor you and all the work that you've done. So at this time, can we have a roll call vote?
Member Yu. Aye. Member Pacheco.
Aye.
Vice President Hernandez.
Abstain.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And that brings us to action item 7.3, resolution 1491 -12/24 recognition of retiring board member Jorge Pacheco Jr.
Thank you, President Gonzalez. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt Resolution 1491-12-24, recognizing retiring board member Jorge Pacheco Jr. as presented.
I move that the Board of Trustees adopt Resolution 1491-12/24, recognition of retiring board member Jorge Pacheco Jr.
Second. And we have Jorge Prado.
For you guys, I'm so sorry for the nightmares. That scares me. I'm the one. This is done. Thank you. Bye. Service is the rent you pay for living, and that service is what sets you apart. That was Dr. Antonia Novello, Boricua from Puerto Rico, for those of you that don't know, First Latina Surgeon General, 1990. And you choose this path. And you're alive and you choose that path, service. And it's beautiful written in those resolutions. I wish I could elaborate as beautifully as written, but I'm another kind of writer, so I will never say it that way. But thank you, the three of you, for all the resolutions you pass, defending our kids, defending our community, bringing things that need to be done, ethnic studies, etc., etc., etc. As a personal note, thank you so much, former personal Jorge Pacheco Tocayo Jr. Thank you so much, former President Hernandez. Thank you so much, President Gonzalez, for hearing me all this time, still smiling, all the silly things I say, but for working and allowing me to work with you in one of them. And it was in a crucial times, and we're about to get in that again. Thank you for putting that in place. I don't know where your service will take you. Well, I know, Mr. Pacheco, where you're going, but I don't know where you two are going. But wherever you go, I know right there, in here and in here, mind, soul, heart, you have that service. Are you paying because you're alive? Please, don't let that service spirit die until we're gone. And that flame is going to keep going forever. But you need to keep doing it. And it's not a lecture, it's with love. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Are there any public comments online? Okay, and seeing none, I'd like to kick off board discussion by just saying thank you so much, Member Pacheco, for all of your leadership. Truly, you've paved the way for the board going forward, and you've made a lot of the work that I've done so much easier and so much simpler with your support and your leadership. So truly, you are such a special person. I wish you well in all of your endeavors. I look forward to seeing you pave new ways at the county level.
trying to save my comments for all the way at the end in case I cry again. So, like, just want to thank you again, Member Pacheco. I think many of us, I know I speak for many of us, that there is some sort of imposter syndrome that can take place with us just being young leaders and our first time running for, a campaign and running for a vision that we all believe in and just saying it proudly. So thank you for paving that way, for your resilience and for your just fearlessness. I really, really appreciated having again, just colleagues. We worked together truly to make the change. And I'm just so appreciative of your time. Yeah.
My comment is actually for all of you, not just for you, Jorge. I just wanted to save it to the end. But I just wanted to say, how fortunate am I to have worked with all of you. I'm so grateful. I'm going to start tearing up. I'm so grateful that, you all appointed me to join all of you on this governance team. And I really want to express my deepest gratitude. I think you are all trailblazers in your own right. Thank you for your leadership in championing diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think your dedication in passing all of these resolutions for our district really affirms and celebrates the richness of our diverse community, and it's really set a powerful example for all of us. I think you've definitely all have paved the way for meaningful change and ensuring that every student here feels seen and valued and supported. Right. So again, thank you for your collaborative spirit, your student-centered focus, your passion, your overall awesomeness. I really feel that, I've only come back for a short while, but I'm happy that I've been able to connect with all of you again. You've all have definitely have made a lasting legacy. You've displayed not just effective governance, but very impactful governance. And your visionary work has definitely left a mark in our district. I know I'm forever grateful for your courage, your advocacy, and all of your commitment. So thank you for all that you do. And I hope that you stay in touch. Yeah.
Thank you so much. May we have a roll call vote at this time?
Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Pacheco, Vice President Hernandez,
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Awesome. And this brings us to our next action items. Remember, Superintendent Chavez?
Thank you, President Hernan Gonzalez. This evening, we are bringing to the board a series of board policies for your approval. The series that I'm bringing today is Board Policy Series 000, which is Philosophy, Goals, Objectives, and Comprehensive Plans. Board Policy Series 1000, Community Relations, and Board Policy Series 2000, Administration. The updates that have been made to these board policies come as recommended from the California School Board Association in alignment with new legislation, as well as ed code changes as well, so that we're in alignment with the new laws that have passed at the state level. In reviewing these, we have adopted and approved them as that they are good moving forward. So this evening, we are bringing all three series as a bundle, and it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve Board Policy Series 000, 1000, 2000 as the first reading, and for Board Policy Bylaw 9311, waive the second reading and adopt the Board Policy Series 000, 1000, and 2000 as presented.
I make a motion to approve item 7.4, 7.5, 7.6, and 7.7. Oh, no. Oh, sorry, just the 7.4, 7.5, and 7.6.
I second that motion. Do we have any public comments in person or online? Okay. Any board discussion? Awesome. May we have a roll call vote?
Aye. Member Pacheco,
Aye.
Vice President Hernandez,
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. That brings us to action item 7.7, policy 511 6.1, interdistrict open enrollment. Superintendent Anna?
Hi, thank you. So this is a specific board policy brought to you. And this is 5116.1, having to do with intra-district open enrollment. So the intra-district process allows students to, or families to apply for students to be able to transfer schools within the school district. And the update in this board policy is the timeline. You can which is on the second page at the top of the page. It's a vague timeline so that we don't have to update it every year, but we will review the board policy every year. So the timeline is, says in the board policy from January to March. This year, the intra-district transfer window is specifically January 13th through March 14th. And that is in alignment, the start date is in alignment with our school registration opening. And so that earlier registration in alignment with the intra-district transfer process and as well as program options, all of those together sort of allow us to enroll students earlier, get kids where they need to be a little bit earlier and be able to notify families. So it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve board policy 5116.1 first reading and as per board bylaw 9311, waive second reading and adopt board policy 5116.1 intra-district open enrollment.
I move that the Board of Trustees adopt action item or approve action item 7.7, board policy 5116.1 intra-district open enrollment.
I second.
Is there any public comment? Seeing none in person, do we have any board discussion? Okay, we have a roll call vote.
Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Pacheco,
Aye.
Vice President Hernandez,
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
So much. That brings us to action item 7.8, resolution number 1492 -12/24, adopting uses for one-time funds from the sale of Glider Elementary. Associate Superintendent Evans?
Yes, thank you, President Gonzalez. This evening, we're bringing to you a plan for the expenditure of funds from the sale of Glider when we close escrow. Next summer is when we're anticipated to do that. These funds emerged going all the way back to September of 2017 when the board appointed a school consolidation advisory committee convened to address long-term systemic challenges. After the committee's work and recommendations, the board at that time decided to close two schools, Glider Elementary and Minor Elementary, with the intent of reducing operational and administrative costs for the districts. And then the board then moved to generate revenue from the closed properties. They appointed what's called a 7-Eleven committee to research surplus properties. And on March 12th, 2020, the board adopted a resolution declaring the district's intent to sell or lease the surplus real property and directed staff to look for sale or lease opportunities for those two sites. An agreement dated January 21st, 2022, the district entered into a sales agreement with TTLC Management for the purchase of Glider for $26,625,000. And with those funds, we are required to use them for capital outlay and costs of maintenance. However, Ed Code 17463.7, which passed and was authorized for a period of time, allowed school districts to deposit proceeds from the sale into funds for one-time general fund purpose uses. So they could go beyond capital expenditures. However, before we use those funds, we have to bring them to the board for a resolution and approval. And then from there, we send them to the state where the state allocation board will make that approval. This is a similar process that we went through with minor elementary. So the exhibits attached are the sales agreement for the property with TTLC. And then Exhibit B actually lists the proposed plan for the use of those one-time funds, comprised of a one-time incentives. This will take pressure off of the general fund when we offer retirement incentives, signing bonuses, off-schedule salary, whatever one-time dollars for salaries or incentives can be used under this category. Textbook adoptions. We did this with the minor funds. That's how we funded our math adoption most recently. That came in at 2.6 million. So we would be setting aside from the glider sale 6.625 million, which should take us through a couple more adoptions predominantly. Technology is an ongoing recurring cost that oftentimes hits the general fund, updating computers for teachers, Chromebooks for students. So $2.5 million set aside for that. And then another $2.5 million set aside for those infrastructure items like servers and firewalls and switches and all that kind of infrastructure that supports our technology systems. Additionally, the remaining $10 million will be used for capital expenditures, but these two will help our general fund. Green initiatives we wanted to make a focus on, battery storage, LED lighting, charging stations. These are things that will save the general fund money. And we also have a very good solar system, not solar system, that's a little different, solar generating system, solar panels. However, they are 10 to 15 years old. So we need to have money to upgrade those and redo the inverters and stuff. So these funds can be used there. A special reserve for capital expenditures, about $5 million. This will supplement repairs and improvements and help with any funds we need from the bond. And then $1 million for safety and security investments. So those are the recommended plans for the one-time sources. We ran these by the Office of Public School Construction before we brought them to you because we didn't want them to be stalled at the state allocation board, and they were fine with them as well. So upon your approval, we'll then prepare the application to go to the state allocation board, and they will grant hopefully authorization to set these funds aside for those specific purposes. So are there any questions I can answer for you or? Okay.
Okay. May I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the plan expenditure for the funds generated by the sale of Glider Elementary School.
I second.
Any public comments? And no board discussion, right? No. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Pacheco,
Aye.
Vice President Hernandez,
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And that brings us to action item 7.9, election to the California Boards Association, CSBA Assembly. Superintendent Chaidas?
Thank you, President Gonzalez. This item here is an opportunity for the Board of Trustees to make a nomination for a delegate assembly for the 2025 election. The delegate assembly is comprised of delegates who are elected and appointed by local board members in 21 geographic regions throughout the state. Delegates will serve two-year term beginning April 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2027. The delegate assembly meets twice a year. The nomination, appointment, and candidate forms are due to CSBA by Tuesday, January the 7th. And that is the reason that we're bringing it today as an action item because of the quick turnaround and the deadline of January 7th. At this time, it's open if the board would like to nominate someone. It's a board discussion at this point.
So I really hope to continue serving on CSBA Delegate Assembly. It's election time now, so it requires another nomination, and I don't have to be a member of this particular board to be nominated. I can be nominated by any board. And so I humbly ask that this board nominate me so I can continue serving in this capacity at the state level at CSBA.
I'm happy to nominate you. Board Member Pacheco. Do you have to like say it officially? Like I nominate. Okay, I motion to nominate Member Pacheco to the Delegate Assembly for the 2025 election.
A second.
Okay, do we have any public comment? No. Okay, any board discussion? No? Okay, may we have a roll call vote?
Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Pacheco,
Abstain.
Vice President Hernandez,
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Awesome. And that brings us to action item 7.10, consideration and approval to update Oak Grove School District 23-24 executive salary schedule. Associate Superintendent Bowles.
Yes, thank you so much, President Gonzalez. So in accordance to applicable law, the Division of Human Resources is bringing forth the amendment to the 2023-24 salary schedule to include a 5% salary increase retroactive to July 1, 2024 for the 24-25 annual executive salary schedule. So back in 2022, the district concluded negotiations with all bargaining groups, ASME, CSA, and OGA for 3 school years. And at that time, the board approved a 5% salary increase to employees' respective salary schedules for the 2024-25 school year. In the spirit of inclusivity and in alignment with all unrepresented and represented employee agreements, including historical past practice, salary increases have been applied to the superintendent, associate superintendents of business services and human resources, and assistant superintendent of educational services. There are no other changes to the employment agreements for the superintendent, associate superintendent, and assistant superintendents. So it is a recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the updated Oak Grove School District 2023-2024 executive salary schedules.
Okay. I move that the Board of Trustees approve the updated Oak Grove School District 2023-2024 executive salary schedule as presented.
I second. Do we have any public comment? Board discussion? Okay, may I have a roll call vote?
Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Pacheco,
Aye.
Vice President Hernandez,
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Now we'll move on to our school improvement items. Action items 7.11 through 7.15 as followed. Davis Track and Field, change order number 1, approval of decorative fencing at Davis Track and Field's contract, approval of Herman Modernization LLB contract with Roden Builders, ratification of interim housing at district office, placement of flooring at the district office. Associate Superintendent Evan.
Yes, thank you, President Gonzalez. I'll have several items that I'll present, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask as I finish each item. The first is for a change order for the Davis Track and Field. As we do the work, we're trying to move along quickly, but we have run into some challenges as we unearth things. We found some storm drains that had hazardous materials that had to be mitigated, some grading that had to be done corrected so that it met everything for proper drainage. So we do have a change order due to those unknown conditions and corrections in the amount of $157,715.58. This will be paid from Measure P bond funds. And by passing this, we can continue the project and keep it on schedule for opening in spring. Are there any questions regarding the change order? All right, thank you. Also at the Davis Track and Field, one of the things that we plan to do, it was not part of the bid for the track and field itself, but the master plan for the field did have fencing that ran along the south side of the field to separate the track and field from the rest of the Davis campus, so that in the event people were using the field on the weekends, there was not access to the campus. So we bid that out as a separate project, and the Silicon Valley Paving won that bid, and we're recommending your approval to move forward with executing that contract and putting in the decorative fencing for the Davis Track and Field. Any questions on that? I'm sorry. The third item, Herman Modernization will be coming up next summer. We begin that process by engaging our leaseback contractor, kind of our general contractor, who will oversee all of the work and the subcontractors. We went out to bid for that project. We had 5 companies submit, and the company with the best proposal was Rodan Builders. Their contract is here to get them engaged with pre-construction services as we move through the final design, get approval from the Division of the State Architect, and then they will work with the district and the architect to start engaging subcontractors and putting together the plan for beginning construction next summer. Any questions I can answer on the leaseback contract? Okay. We'll move to the next project. This one will be getting underway very briefly. This is the modernization at the district office here, where we're going to be redoing the HVAC system and the roofing. Part of that will mean the building will have to be emptied at different sections because there will be abatement work done in the building, and then different phases, wings at a time, will be taken care of. So there will be movement of staff around the building. And one of the things to help absorb that construction and the displacement of staff will be having 2 portables out in the parking lot. They aren't like classroom portables. They're about half that size, more like a construction trailer. And they'll house about 5 people in each of those. And then we'll have other people moving around this building or stationed at portables around the building. This contract for those 2 portables, as well as kind of event restrooms, that'll be out there too, because there will be periods where our restrooms in here will not be accessible. Those will also be leased and put out there in the parking lot. That's a contract for about $88,000 for the duration of the project, which will be about 9 months. So any questions on the portables? All right. And then lastly, on the construction front, also in this building, we figured while we have everybody moved out, it's actually a great time to do the carpeting so that we don't have to displace people sometime 5 years down the road. We're just going to replace each wing's carpeting as we go through and do the HVAC work, finish the job, put in new carpeting before we move everybody back in. And this will be a $150,000 expense basically to redo the district office. And that will also be paid out of Measure P bond funds. So those are the 5 items, 7, 11, through 15 submitted for your approval.
Okay. I move that the Board of Trustees approve action item 7.11 through 7.15. Have a second?
I second.
Okay. Is there any public comment? None in person? Any board discussion? May we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Pacheco,
Aye.
Vice President Hernandez,
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That brings us to action item 7.16, first interim report, Associate Superintendent Zebby.
Yes, so we could share the presentation on the screen, please. And then we'll get started. All right, thank you. Yes, so, and actually, if we go to the next slide, we'll kind of go through just the budget process again. I just kind of update this each time. You adopted a budget in June when you adopted the LCAP. That was where we expected the new budget to be and where we expected the old budget from last year to end. A lot of time in June, it's somewhat speculative because we're making our budget actually quicker than the state is making theirs. So that budget really starts getting finalized at 2 points. In September, when we do our unaudited actuals, that's when we actually close out the last year and find out what our expenses and revenues completely were, especially the expenses. This year, when we closed the books, we had in cash, there were some accounting things that made the numbers look different, but in cash, about $1 million because of purchase orders that were written and didn't get used and all. Some expenses come in higher. Fortunately, in this case, more came in lower. So we actually finished the year a little bit ahead. But $1 million, while it's a nice sounding number, in our budget, it's within a 1% range. So to put it in perspective, this budget presentation in December is probably our real budget when we get going. It's effective as of, we're looking at expenditures as of October 31st. And this really reflects the students who showed up, the teachers we had to hire, the services we're providing, and what we expect those to be for the rest of the year. So it's more accurate than what we present to you in June because we have a real state budget on the revenue side, and we have a better grasp of what our expenditures will be based on staffing, which is a large part of our budget. Next month, We will be going to Sacramento with the bargaining unit presidents to listen to the governor's proposal, and that'll be looking towards the next year, because part of this presentation is where we are in 24, 25, and where we might be in the years following. March will be the second interim, and that will get us ready for the new budget, review this budget and get us ready for the new budget with the May revise, and then the June budget coming right back around again. So in this report, what we'll do, you give me the next slide, please. The actual review of the current budget. We'll look at that, and we'll look at the multi-year projections going out to years 25, 26, and 26, 27. That's what we have to report out at this point. And then we'll kind of go through the state economic outlook. The Legislative Analyst Office just put out their most recent report. And then we'll kind of look at what are the challenges that we're facing, not so much in the near term, but as we go down. And then what are the good things that look to be on the horizon as well. So we can go 2 slides. This is just the cover sheet here. I tried to go less number heavy on this report. I tend to get a lot of little spreadsheets and charts in there for you, but I kind of wanted to talk about some of the challenges and transitions we're going through. Here we are post-pandemic, a few years out as we transition. The COVID funds are basically gone. There are a few funds left of one-time monies, the Arts and Music Grant, not Prop 28, but that grant, and some of the Learning Recovery funds. Those will all be depleted by the end of this fiscal year. So the one-time monies are essentially dissipating and have been spent down. Special education costs have been increasing for our district at a faster pace than our budget's been growing. So that's one of the challenges.
Is that because there's more special education students, or why?
We actually have fewer special education students than we did before, but we also have fewer students overall. So I'd have to go back and look, but the percentage is not going down as fast as before. I don't remember, but the last time we studied, I thought our percentage was around 14 or so, 14 or 15. Is 11 in the state? Okay, yeah, I know a lot of the federal level assumes a 10%, but our state tends to run in the 11, 12. So
Yeah, and with an $8.5 million variance with expenditures, is a massive chunk of that because of SPED, or is it much more?
a variety of contributions that went to that deficit growth. So, and I'll do a slide on that, and I'll talk a little bit about what that makeup is.
Okay.
Because we also had some revenue growth too. So some of the things in the numbers will be accounting, because, for example, the revenue growth is federal money that rolled forward and didn't get counted till this year. So some of that is dollars that we knew were coming. They just got booked this year.
Okay.
So, but we do have additional behavioral support, special services for students, and not all special ed students, just additional classroom support for some other classrooms. Generally speaking, our general ed unrestricted expenditures are well balanced with our revenues. That's a good sign. That means that as we are going through declining enrollment, our staffing adjustments are going accordingly so that we're keeping our ratios in line. And, fortunately, that's been done through just attrition, the retirement incentive and things like that have helped us kind of keep our staff in match with our general ed population. On the next slide, we'll look at enrollment in ADA. That's, as you know, a big funding component. As I mentioned, our enrollment is declining. We're not unique in that aspect. Santa Clara County is expected to decrease by 15% by the end of the decade. Fortunately, it's less steep than anticipated.
Can you say that part one more time? What did you say about 15%?
Santa Clara County is expected to decline about 15% by the end. Yeah, and this is a couple of years old, so some of that has already happened. But that's just a general trend line for Santa Clara County, and I think it's true for most coastal school districts. Most of the growth you'll find are in the inland areas, and that tends to do with the housing and all. So we are still declining. Our demographic study is going to be coming due. I've been looking at the draft. Lower birth rates and high housing costs basically mean younger families have a harder time getting into the district, which means our kindergarten classes are smaller, and we're losing the bigger classes of 8th graders going on to high school. So the upside, though, is our ADA rate is improving. After the decline in average daily attendance through COVID, we're currently at about 93.8%, not to the area we were pre-pandemic at 96%, but trending up positively every year. So that's a good thing. The state gave us the 3-year average. That used to be you just looked at the last year and you got funded on that. We got the 3-year average. That was very beneficial. But this year we saw a large drop because we lost that last year of big number averages from COVID that they let us keep. That was a sting when it comes to the funding. But the nice thing is now the decline is just more gradual. The numbers will be more realistic in their averaging.
Wait, is this slide saying that we are back at the pre-pandemic rate at 96%?
No,
Or you're just saying that that is?
was the pre-pandemic pet.
Okay.
We're seeing 93.8. We'll actually, we'll adjust the budget in March because at that point, our ADA for the year is pretty well set in. So in March, we'll be checking our average daily attendance. The last several months, we've been running more in the 94. So I think we'll cross 94 when we go to budgeting for the next school year. We'll probably be around 94% versus 93.8, maybe north of 94. So we've had actually nice attendance. A lot of schools are running at 96 and above. But overall district-wide, we're running, the last month was running just about 94%. So I see the trend line improving and probably not 96% in 25, 26, but maybe by 26, 27, we'll be back to that rate. On the next slide, some of the increased expenditures. The district and the bargaining units work together on the healthcare increases, and the district added contributions. So that was an increase to our budget that was not there in June. We added additional district contribution to offset the additional costs that bargaining unit members and all staff had to pay. I mentioned the additional services to students. And I think one of the other things that's come up in conversation that, we're in total agreement with, that cost differential for contracted services, that drives up our deficit as well. So we would like to get those employees to be in-house and our own employees. As mentioned, that gives kind of loyalty and longevity, but it also gives financial benefit too. So I know Associate Superintendent Bowles and the bargaining units have been working to try to address that concern because we do want to get that number down. That's a mutual interest.
What exactly are we contracting out currently?
We contract out special ed services predominantly. Many of them are certificated. That could be teachers for an SDC class, could be speech and language therapists, but we also have some instructional aides or behavioral support that's contracted out as well. So there's stuff on the classified, there are positions on the classified side as well. So it's not unique to the certificated side. It's one we need to look at from both sides of the house.
And then what are the additional special services for students?
Additional, some of those are those additional behavioral aids, additional one-to-ones and things like that. So.
And then Associate Superintendent Evans, I don't know if you have the amount, but could you go a little bit more in depth with the cost differential for contracted services?
Yeah, okay, I don't have that number off the top of my head. And we were trying to figure out, okay, we took out the salaries that we anticipated for the regular staff and then brought in there, but it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Okay.
Okay.
Because from, what I've read, I know that the initial cost for contracted employees is higher, right, than other employees that might be starting, lower on the salary track. But over time, I guess, are we anticipating that offsets, or is the turnover just so high that it's just not going to offset the way that we would like to? Because a lot of I imagine the contract employees are also not staying for a very long time.
Right. So then you run into a challenge for HR, and then there become indirect costs and the constant hiring time and energy. They're not direct numbers because those salaries are paid, but it consumes that time. You also have inconsistency of program, which then potentially drives up special education costs because you don't have solid programs serving the needs of the students. So I think having our own employees who are cheaper, and maybe over time as they move along the salary schedule, that differential might be offset. But we have program and expertise and commitment there. So I think that's, like I said, a mutual interest for the bargaining units and the district to solve that problem.
Definitely. Thank you.
Okay. The next slide kind of goes into the numbers and mostly comparing where we were when we presented the budget in June and where we are now. You will see the revenues went up by 5.8 million. The redevelopment agency sends us funds that we don't typically book because we were never sure whether we would get them. And we got over, I think, $2.5 million from the redevelopment agency. And we did find out that those funds we don't know how much they'll be, but they're scheduled to continue for several years going forward. So we're going to start keeping those and putting those in our revenue projections going forward. We also had carryovers. This is where those federal funds that we didn't spend yet or whatever got moved to the next budget year. And then on the expenditure growth, you'll see the 8.6 million that you were referring to are increases. Some of those, that is not all contracted services. Actually go down and look instead at the deficit surplus. The increase really is 2.8 million in the increase in the deficit that we're spending this year. At budget, we were expecting $16.8 million in deficit spending, and now it's 19.6. That 2.8 million, several hundred thousand, as I mentioned, is probably contracted services. 600,000 to 700,000 is the increased contribution to healthcare. And then additional aids and support that might also be our employees. They may not be contracted services. So it's made up of a variety of components. So the result for this year is not that it does any damage to us for getting through this year, but as you'll see, the ending fund balance at the end of first interim is down by that amount from 31.5 to 28.6, which then just puts us in a position going forward, which is where I'll start talking about the multi-year, because that's where we have to kind of look at getting through 24, 25, and then what's our projection going forward for the years ahead.
Is this typical variance from previous years, or is this?
This might be a little higher because like the health and welfare was a big contribution that doesn't typically happen. And when we do the budget, we weren't budgeting for as many contracted services. We were hoping to get them. So it's probably, you know, those two things alone might be close to $1 million that would not typically be seen.
I see. Thank you.
So, all right. The next slide, or one more after that, please. Yeah, budget assumptions. And assumptions is dangerous because they are always wrong. But we just build off the information we have and what we anticipate to kind of make the best scenario we can. But one of the things currently in our multi-year projections, because we're going into negotiations, we don't have any negotiated costs in our out years. So anything we negotiate, salaries or benefits, will still be added to these expenditures. They aren't in our multi-year outlook.
Wait, so you're saying that you guys don't just assume like at the very least, or budget in at least like a 1.5 or 2% or something like that?
That's not typical. It's usually not done in advance. So, in negotiation, I found it has cut both ways. It's like, why would you only put that much in, or what, you know? So it can become a sticking point to make an assumption there. So we don't tend to put it in, but we know that, you know, we always are looking at what is that cost for a 1% across the district, you know?
Right.
So, those will be things that we need to consider that aren't in our multi-year projection, but as we go into those negotiations, that'll be part of, you know, how does that impact our multi-year outlook? Fortunately, I don't have any cuts in state revenues projected. Things are looking like they are good on the state front for the Prop 98. And the dartboard down below, you'll see we have the COLA from this year was very small. I've highlighted the COLA in 25, 26 because it's listed at 2.93, but projections are it's going to probably come in the 2 to 2.5% range. So that actually will probably tick down. And then in 26, 27, it will go back up to about 3%. Again, projections could fluctuate. And then what you see down below that is the amount we've received each year in our base grant, in our supplemental funds for our unduplicated pupils, and then the total cost per pupil. This is again across grade spans. We average it because there are different rates for every grade span, TK 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So any questions on that slide? Okay. And then also the enrollment. That also continues to be part of our budget planning because that's our funding. And here you'll see in 23, 24 to 24, 25, there's that large drop. But that's because that hold harmless year from the 3-year average fell off. If you look at the years going forward, the drop's still 150 we're anticipating next year, but then even a little less than 100 the year after that. So it seems like while we're declining, it's not as steep, and that's a little more manageable. And I talked about the ADA being budgeted currently at 93.8%. We hope and realistically believe it'll be around the 94+% next year. So. All right. Now we'll get back to the number slides for you. All right. I'm going to draw your attention to the center one. That's the first interim. And just reflecting the changes from budget in revenue and expenditures. We kind of talked about those and the differences. Okay. And then as that carries forward, you'll see our revenues drop off again next year. Again, some of that deferred revenue that doesn't go forward, lower enrollment, things like that make our revenues actually less than they are this year. Our expenditures also drop down though, as we spend some of those restricted funds and the one-time dollars that are left over. And while our deficit goes down more, because our ending fund balance is shrinking, we have to bring in more funds from the special reserve. So you'll look under projected budget 25-26, the transfer from the special reserve goes up to 9.5 million. And then in 26-27, it goes up to 10 million.
I'm surprised there's that much money left. It seems like an endless pit of
I
money.
know.
Like,
And this has served us very well as a placeholder, and hopefully we won't have to use that much, but at
how
this
much do
point.
we have left right now?
Well, right now we have what you see there, basically, where there might be some change left
Like
over
we're-
beyond that 19 million. Calero is about 16 million, and that's been the placeholder we've used to help us through tough times. And it's usually been a placeholder. We've rarely actually had to tap into it. So we're hoping, but as these deficits get bigger, it's going to be harder not to tap into it.
You say Calera still has 16 million right now?
I think it's 16 million, between 15 and 16, and then there's some other funds that are in sort of capital
create
reserve
the
that we
special
can
reserve.
transfer, right, that we can use as transfer. So you'll see, and even though we're transferring in that much money, again, that ending fund balance still looks very healthy, but much of that is restricted dollars, as we've talked about before. And on the next slide, I think you'll see that breakdown on the bottom half. Ending balance is right there in the middle. But you'll see, for example, this year, our ending balance is 28.6 million, but 22 million of it is restricted funds. Some of those are ELAP dollars that we've received that we still have to spend down on that program. Some of them are those RDA dollars that have to be spent on facilities. And then we also have to have 3% in our economic reserves. That's just required by law. So this year, we'll actually have a little more than our 3%, but you'll see next year, what we transfer in just gets us to balance out with our 3% and our restricted revenues.
Do you think it's something, do you think it's important that the board, the next board, think about increasing the economic uncertainty fund by like a 1 or 2%, or is that really not?
It's a
needed?
savings account. Once you do that, it just kind of is a holding place, but it always grows with whatever your revenues grow. So my previous board had a 3.5%, or yeah, I think it was 3.5%. So once you set it, but it's also then taking revenue out of your general fund and putting that 1% more aside.
But is it fiscally responsible to do something like that, given our fiscal state right
I think
now?
the way
As a board policy to increase this threshold.
we've been fortunate, the Calero funds have functioned that way for us. So I think if we look as those, I think right now, until we get our expenditures and revenues more aligned, I don't think we should necessarily put the money into increasing the 3%. But we should get our revenues and expenditures in line so that, you know, we are running on a, not in the red. And using that Calero fund right now as that extra reserve that you're talking about it's been functioning well for the district for quite a few years.
In what scenario, in what, I guess, fiscal scenario would you say would be ideal for a board to think about increasing that threshold?
I think if we didn't have any other reserves, then you'd want that reserve to be more substantial.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. And then because we have those other reserves, so.
Thank you.
So I'd say, yeah, if we were to exhaust those reserves, that would be something we'd have to look at to increase that 3% maybe.
Okay, thank you.
So.
At what point would we have to start using that 3%? Or are we just always saving 3%?
You always, the state requires you to always have a 3% reserve, just rainy day fund for more of an emergency. I mean, a 3% reserve is a couple to 2 to 3 weeks of salary, I think it is, basically. So it's usually not even a month of salary. But it's just kind of the mandated amount for our district, and it always needs to be there. If we can't make that 3%, then we don't get a positive qualification. We get a qualified or potentially a negative. So So that is a requirement. And that's why those transfer in numbers are specifically aligned to zero out the very bottom so that, I'm going to jump into kind of less our outlook and more on the state outlook. You just jump one more slide. There's actually some really positive things coming in from the state. We are meeting our budget. We are actually slightly ahead of what the state budget projected in revenues. That's good. Hopefully that'll continue through April when the income taxes are all due. Inflation is leveling off, which is helping us as far as functioning in our district, as well as the state keeping track with their obligations. The Prop 98 guarantee will go up $3 billion in 25-26. Part of that's reconciling 24-25 and 23-24. However, most of that money, just the way it's collected and most of it being capital gains, will go back to the Prop 98 reserve. It won't come to us. It'll go into the savings account for rainy day. But there is about $2.8 billion in monies the state has spent on one time that will be freed up. So we might see some increases that will more than cover the COLA and still leave 2.8 billion. The question is, how does the legislature and the governor decide to distribute that to us? Does it become a restricted program where it's very designated? Does it become unrestricted, but one-time dollars and we can't put it towards long-term expenses? Or is it an ongoing amount that we get to guarantee year after year? So good news there. How it looks is still to be determined. That will probably come out in January in its first draft, and then it'll probably go through some changes until we get to the May revise. But that's a positive one. And generally, the state outlook for Prop 98 is positive. The growth of Prop 98 is pretty steady, and it's considered a good thing. It's actually kind of a contradiction because on the next slide, you'll see some of the challenges the state is facing. While Prop 98 is doing well, state deficits actually are projected to get quite large, which is an interesting dichotomy because the school funding is healthy, but the rest of the budget is not then. So how do those deficits get handled if they're not handled by Prop 98? Are they handled by Health and Human Services, all the other departments in the state budget? So we also find consumer spending's dropping off and the jobs are unemployment rate. And those are two sources, sales tax from consumer spending and income taxes from jobs. The revenues are up, but they're up because of high income earners. And the high income earners, many of them in this county, are getting stock options and bonuses that are related to their company's stock prices. That's a very volatile market. And if the stock market takes a sudden turn, then those income taxes drop off significantly. Interesting fact that was shared that 10% of the state's income taxes come from 4 companies.
Wow.
And I suspect most of them are in this county.
That's crazy.
So if those companies go south, that impacts the state significantly. And then the other unknown right now are federal factors. You know, we've heard stories about the Department of Education being closed, but not even that. What happens to Title I funding, Title III funding? Those are things that could impact our sites as well. And not only the Department of Education and funding there, but if tariffs are imposed, that is a big hit for California with our ports, which could impact our state budget as well. So there are a lot of factors that, you know, we won't know until we know. So jumping to the headwinds and the tailwinds, you'll see a repeat of some of these items. The lower COLA going from 2.93 down into the lower 2s, the spending and jobs growth slowing, the volatility of the stock market, and then the deficit on the state budget in other areas besides schools. Our expenditures on our front are outpacing our revenues, our enrollment, but we're not in a boat alone there. We're with the whole state in the declining enrollment. The one-time funds are largely depleted, but some of those pandemic needs still exist. They haven't all been covered. And then I mentioned the federal funds. And then on the tailwind sides, the things that are working in our favor, the state revenues, and let's hope those continue to go better than anticipated. The good funding for Prop 98, the lower rates of inflation will help everybody, the state, the district, our employees. Our our increased rate of attendance will, offset the revenues we've lost from declining enrollment. TK, we get one more expansion of TK. This is the last year, and then it'll be fully filled all the way up to September 1st, right? So we'll get a little bump up there. And we do have restricted funds still left that can help offset in the immediate budget year. So we're trying to strategize so we don't have so much in that restricted category, and maybe that will spill over to that 3% reserve. So we are good through 26, 27, but we do need to keep our kind of eyes on the prize and address the issues that we're facing, both for our students, for our staff and all, to make sure that we have a budget that sustains us this year, but also for several years to come. So lots to be determined in the months ahead, more in March, but are there any questions or other things I can answer for you at this point? Sorry to go so long. Okay.
Thank you for entertaining our questions and
No problem.
and for the facts and yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Associate Superintendent Evans. May I have a motion at this time?
Motion to approve the first interim budget report.
Report, yeah.
Star six.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
Did I say it wrong?
I second.
Oh, second.
No, you're good, you're good.
Is there any public comment at this time? Any board discussion? Thank you so much for your report. May we have a roll call vote?
Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Pacheco,
Aye.
Vice President Hernandez,
Aye.
President Gonzalez,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, that wraps up our action items and brings us to our information items. We will start with 8.1 OGSD Ethnic Studies Implementation Update. Assistant Superintendent Anna.
Okay, thank you so much, President Gonzalez and members of the board. I'm really happy to bring this last item to you, an information item for your last regular board meeting for the three of you. Some really exciting things happening in our school district in the way of ethnic studies implementation. So this is an update for you all. Just a little background upon the passage of California AB 331, which requires an ethnic studies course for high school graduation. You guys passed, our board passed board resolution 1328, 919, and then subsequently 1340, 1219, which those two resolutions hand in hand provided opportunities for our students to learn to have an intro to ethnic studies course in our middle schools, and also to have an integrated approach to be able to learn and explore the histories and the contributions and experiences of diverse ethnic groups in meaningful and engaging ways, and ensures for them to have community and culturally responsive instruction in the classrooms. So in 2020, we instated a ethnic studies steering committee. And as part of that steering committee, members of the committee, which was a makeup of a variety of educational partners, teachers, classified staff, parents, administrators, and the folks on the committee developed this statement of purpose. The Oak Grove Ethnic Studies model promotes respect and understanding among races while cultivating empathy and solidarity. Through asset-based, culturally sustaining pedagogy and multiple perspectives, students connect to one another, the rich history and untold stories of the people in our community and the world around them. The focus of our model is identity, empowerment, and social consciousness. Our steering committee then met several times to determine how we would move forward with ethnic studies implementation. And then at that time in 2021, really decided that we needed to bring in experts. And that's when we began contracting with Ehekat Win Philosophy, who's been providing our foundational training in our district. We've reconvened the Ethnic Studies Advisory Committee to provide updates and get input from members of the committee. And so we're meeting virtually 2 times a year. And this is an opportunity to get feedback and input and share stories and share, what people value who are members of the community. So, so they had an opportunity to meet recently, and then just to recap, I presented to you guys last year in November, and we actually had some teachers from our district who were teaching the Intro to Ethnic Studies course give their testimonial, and that was cohort 1. And cohort 1, the year before last, went through there were 8 middle school, and then also some 6th and 7th and 6th and 7th grade multiple subject teachers in that cohort. They went through foundational training with EWP in ethnic studies tenets and social justice and pedagogy. And they completed that first year, they completed their middle school course outline and began their comprehensive unit development. The course outline drove their work, and the unit development just really rich, in-depth, day-to-day units that they're using as their curriculum. So it was created as part of something I didn't share, as something I didn't share last year. And as part of that first cohort, we gave a survey to students and learned a little bit about their experience. So I just wanted to share, we actually got a lot of data, but these are the nuggets. 85% of students enjoy learning about different cultures, and students report learning about the struggles. I gotta move this over, sorry. My Zoom, there we go. The struggles of racialized communities, different cultures, empathy, and fairness. 66% of students state that ethnic studies has helped them learn about their own culture. 67% of students report that learning about other cultures makes them feel more connected to their own background and to their families. 83% of students report that they are learning and talking about fairness, social justice, and diverse perspectives. 79% of students state their understanding of social justice issues has increased, and 88% of students state they're happy and feel included in their ethnic studies class. So this again was students in the Intro to Ethnic Studies course that first semester last year. And they said, ethnic studies helps me do better in school because it teaches us about equality and equity, which helps me with real life situations. Another student said, learning about different cultures has changed my perspective on other people. It also helps me to not judge people just because I don't know where they are coming from. Finally, I like the projects because they are fun. It is a very hands-on class. They're learning collaboratively and together. And so it's very exciting to see. We're prepping for giving the surveys again this January as part of the first semester, just to continue gathering data for implementation and effectiveness. So then last year, we continued our partnership with EWP. Not only did cohort 1 come back together so that they could continue to build their intro to ethnic studies units, they built those out, but then we also began cohort 2. And the makeup of cohort 2 was we had 12 teachers. These were our history, social science teachers at the 3 comprehensive middle schools. So the idea for them is to receive the foundational training in the ethnic studies tenets and social justice and pedagogy. And also, how can they learn how they can teach history with the ethnic studies lens? What's missing from the history curriculum? What resources do they need and can compile? And they developed cornerstone lessons. Also, supplemental curricular materials have been provided to our middle school history social science teachers, and they are source documents and extra reading materials, and they're also leveled. They're leveled for different levels of reading. So it's really exciting. Also, cohort 1 and cohort 2 are participating in instructional rounds. So a little bit about that is that now that we have these teachers trained up, we're bringing them into each other's classrooms so that they can see what intro to ethnic studies looks like in other classrooms and what history classrooms look like with the ethnic studies lens. And so that's very exciting. We're continuing that this year. And it really is a collaborative reflection process, and it creates that reflective teaching community and builds efficacy amongst teachers. So that photo there is our cohort 2. And then finally this year, to provide the update, what we're doing now is we have began implementing the foundational training with cohort 3. And so now we're moving beyond middle school. We're coming back down to elementary school. We're starting from kindergarten and up. So cohort 3 is K-3 teachers. And so we're equipping them with the frameworks and the tenets and culturally responsive pedagogy so that they can build in an integrated approach for a more humanizing education. They will be developing the cornerstone lessons for each grade level and themes, and also compiling resources. We'll have compiled resources for each grade level that can be scaled out across the district. In addition, during that cohort 3 training, we're having members, there's 2 teachers from cohort 1 and our coordinator in curriculum instruction and assessment, Eva Marquita, who are engaging in a train the trainers training. So they are participating in the foundational training again and working also with our consultants to learn how to deliver that training so that when in a couple of years when this funding runs out for the implementation and working with the consultants, we're able to continue this and sustain it in-house. And I think that's really important for the longevity of ethnic studies in our district. So that is taking place. And then, so we'll continue that this year. And then we've got our MOU goes through the end of next year. So we'll be providing foundational training for 4th through 6th grade teachers. So they'll build on the work that K-3 did, taking the cornerstone lessons and the themes up through 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. We'll continue to do instructional rounds to build that efficacy and capacity. And we'll continue our ethnic studies advisory committee meetings throughout implementation so that we can get feedback from the community and learn from the folks who are, who are part of the district who are, in the community on the ground doing the work. So that's where we're at. Very, very excited to continue this work in Oak Grove. I also just want to commend and thank the board for passage of the resolutions to begin doing this work. I know that high school districts across the state are working on their course development for ethnic studies. I keep hearing that we, as an elementary school district, are even very far beyond and ahead of many high school districts in the state with what we're doing. So we're pioneering and leading the way for ethnic studies in elementary and middle schools. And I just want to thank the board for your vision.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do we have any public comments? Any?
In this house here and the whole team, it's really awesome to see it continue this year, especially into our early years. A couple of questions. So I think we have what we're really trying to do is build a sustainable model of self-creating ethnic studies within our district by training the teachers and all that. What's essential is that there's robust lessons in here. So what is the vision right now for when this contract is finished with our contractors? I think it's 25, 26 or something like that. Well, how many unit, like, does each grade level have a unit? Or is it, like you mentioned, cornerstone lessons, like what is the end product in terms of knowledge of lessons?
Yeah, so cohort 3 is really working that through. They're going to be kind of deciding, is this a full unit? Is this a theme that that each grade level has? But essentially, we want students, by the time they get to middle school, they're equipped and prepared to engage in intro to ethnic studies or in history, social science, with the tools and the discourse that they've had throughout their elementary school experience and learning about diverse perspectives and systems of oppression. And they're ready with the vocabulary, they're ready with the knowledge. They have that, and then they have it in middle school. They're going to be ready in high school. This won't be new for them. This won't be something that they've never seen. They're going to, their identities, our aim is for their identities to be validated all the way throughout, and then for them to really understand that perspective taking. So what does that look like? I think, and that's, I think, the work of cohort 3, because they are the elementary school teachers. And so they're going to be working with the consultants to say what really, how will this look in terms of will it be a unit that builds on? So kinder has their unit, then first grade, and it just really also gets us past learning about the same historical figures in every grade every year, that we're reaching out and getting the stories of our community and the history of our community, and really able to build knowledge with our students and bring in the untold stories that are not in their curriculum. Yeah. They're going to have 10 days, 10 sub days, and there's 8 days of foundational training, and some of that is building the knowledge to be able to dive into the curriculum, and then they have 2 sub-release days for curriculum development.
I've been on the receiving end as a teacher to develop units and lessons in 2 days is much time.
Mm-hmm.
And while the 8 days of training are needed, is there any flexibility to increase those curriculum development days?
Yeah, I mean, if that is the recommendation from the team and from the consultants, we can look at modifying the contract and moving some things around so that they can, spend more time on that development and, still get adequate training. Yeah. Yeah.
That necessarily is lessons. A unit for me, it takes 50 hours to make. So it takes a lot of time, sure.
Yeah.
But I know you guys. My last question is, what is the vision for getting these units and lessons that get built from these cohorts into other classrooms? Because today, I received a call from an Indigenous member of our community, who was just telling me about her child's experience learning in 4th grade about other Indigenous communities. And then the child coming back and telling his mother that he basically thinks like Indigenous are still extinct. Like Indigenous Californians
Mm-hmm.
are not still alive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's happening. That's an experience that's happening in the school district right now in one of the classrooms. So I can only imagine what, we're still piloting. We got to scale it. We got to get to the class. We got to train teachers to know how to tackle that issue. So, and then Indigenous people were the smallest population ever anywhere. So then what is the vision for getting these lessons that are built into classrooms so that kids like this don't have their mothers call me telling me that this is what my kid is thinking at this very moment?
Yeah, that's a great question. We the plan is to have a curriculum materials, supplemental materials that can be shared out, but it can't just be handing over having a shared Google folder of resources or even explicit lessons. we really do need to train folks in the district. So part of it, that's part of the train the trainers model, is to be able to train teachers along the way, because the healing and regenerative nature of the ethnic studies model and the tenets of ethnic studies are really, it's really important to go deep with that training. We also have, we have structures and we have practices in place in our district that do provide that culturally responsive and welcoming and affirming. We have SEAL in our district, and the SEAL units that have been developed really rely on culturally responsive strategies and units. So it's not completely new for everybody, but there are specific training elements. So having that training and being able to year over year bring more people in, but something that the teachers will, the outcome will be to have something that can be shared and scaled out. Yeah.
Comes to the 4 branches of ethnic studies, ECAS studies, Latin studies, Black studies. Native studies has just one unique characteristic that the others don't have, and that is that Indigenous peoples do get stereotyped as just being extinct. At least Native Californians. So I wonder if this is also an opportunity for us to perhaps collect some data on what is being taught in our 4th grade classes right now, in classes that have not had the exposure of ethnic studies just yet. And then see how the committee, the advisory committee, can potentially tackle that. This easy. And I may be biased as an Indigenous people, but it's just very important. Thank you for your
Okay,
service and
thank
work.
you.
I think it's, at least we're doing more than most places where we're. Just thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for this presentation and also for all of your work. There's no other board comments. That brings us to correspondence and board discussion. We may now hear from board members regarding correspondence from individuals and or organizations regarding district programs or services. Board members may report on meetings attended or related district matters at this time. Board members may also report on committee assignments. Correspondence and board discussion.
Yes. Last weekend, we all had the pleasure of attending the California School Board Association conference. And I just want to again just thank the board, each of you here, the exec team, for spending time with one another and also just thinking so thoughtfully about what we could bring back to our district, and also just sharing just the beautiful work that we're doing at the district. Member Pacheco was able to serve on a panel, as well as Superintendent Dr. Chaitis was able to serve on a panel as well. And just those opportunities are just so critical for sharing the work that we're doing at Oak Grove, including hopefully attracting some other educators maybe that were over there that would think about serving our community. So again, I just would love to close out with thanking you all again. I appreciate each and every one of you. I could have never imagined these 4 years going the way that they did. I know we have such a special board. I know we were able to get so much more done, even though I know we all know there's so much more to be done, just because of how well we all work together and we just stayed focused on the students. I know Mr. Prado was wondering earlier where we're going. I will be dedicating even more time to my day job in Eastside Union High School District. And so just dedicating more time over there, but I'm hoping to still stay connected here in Oak Grove. We serve the same students, and I'm just really looking forward to growing in my other capacities and just seeing you all around and as we work together. Thank you so much again. It's been an honor.
Okay, and if there is no other board discussion, that brings us to adjournment. May I have a motion and a second to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor?
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the regular board meeting on December 12th, 2024 is adjourned at 8:42 PM. Thanks so much, guys.